Most of you might have stayed in a hostel or PG at least once in your life. Just like many, I was away from my home for many years. Rewinding those sweet and sour hostel days, I thought of sharing one incident with all. It was during my stay in Hyderabad. I used to stay in a big room with several people, where some used to do a job, while many used to prepare for government jobs. Things went normal for a few months. We had a habit of discussing paranormal activities during the nighttime, especially when there were power cuts. We exchanged our thoughts, opinions, and experiences we had. But one day, during tea time in the evening, our hostel chef shared a paranormal experience he had that afternoon. He said he had a weird experience of someone sitting on him while he was sleeping. He felt a lot of weight on his body, where he could not yell and call for help for some time. I just ignored it and tried to convince him that he might have had sleep paralysis, which sometimes happens while we sleep. He was not convinced, as he came across two other people complaining about having similar experiences in the same week. I left from there with a doubt. The next day, as usual, we all were asleep by 11 p.m. Our room was quiet and dark. We were in sound sleep, with our blankets tightly wrapped around. It was during midnight when we all woke up hearing a scream. We saw one of our roommates sitting on his bed with the lights turned on. By seeing his face, I can say that he was panicked, and he was looking everywhere, as if he was searching for someone. I asked him what happened and why he was so scared. He replied that he felt someone was lifting his bed as if it was in the air. He even tried to get hold of it, but nearly missed it. He said he felt the hand of a woman wearing bangles. His explanation was quite unbelievable for us, as we thought he had a bad dream. We switched off the lights to go back to sleep. After an hour, he switched on the light and woke me up. He said someone was pulling his blanket down. I tried to calm him down by telling him that he was imagining things and nothing would happen to him, as we all were in the same room with him. He exchanged his bed with the other and slept in a bed next to mine. He requested not to switch off the lights. We agreed and went back to sleep with the lights on. After a couple of minutes, he woke me again, as he felt someone was still pulling his blanket. I was pissed off and asked him to exchange his blanket with mine, to see whether the ghost was after him or his blanket. Sarcastically, I went to sleep after exchanging our sheets. It was almost 3:30 in the morning when he woke me again. I asked him what the matter was now. He said he still felt that someone was pulling his blanket. I was pissed off and replied, "If the ghost is pulling your blanket, even after you exchanged yours with mine, it is after you. You both discuss and sort out the things. Please exclude me in between and let me sleep. Wake me only when you think it is going to kill you." I went back to sleep after that. He let me sleep peacefully this time. Later in the morning, I saw his face and understood that he had the worst night. We tried to convince him to move on and get ready for the job, but he was so disturbed and didn't speak to us. We left for our work. When we were back in the room in the evening, we saw him in the room and asked him. He replied that he was feeling better. He kept the lights on that night too. We allowed him to keep the lights on for one night, for him to overcome his fear. The other day, he met some priest in a nearby temple. He did something as instructed by him. He slept peacefully from that night, and later on. I am not sure how things went, but we happened to experience some strange things later in the night. We saw some of our roommates acting strangely during the midnights, speaking something which no one understood. A few said they saw our room door closing by itself, etc., but nothing serious ever happened. We got used to it and continued to stay by focusing on things happening in our lives rather than focusing on things happening in our room. Note: this story was based on true events.